Think motorcycles are unreliable? Think again. We'll show you 15 motorcycles that traveled over 500,000 miles. That's like driving around the whole world 20 times. To put this in perspective, most cars are considered high mileage at 200,000 miles. These amazing bikes have been through decades of rain, snow, crazy hot weather, and countless road trips while carrying their owners across entire countries. If you're enjoying our videos, hit that subscribe button and stick around to discover these legendary motorcycles and their epic journeys. These stories will prove that everything you think you know about motorcycles might be wrong. Kicking off our list with the 1975 Honda Goldwing. Alan Zart bought this bike new in 1976, and apparently nobody told him when to stop riding. By July 29, 2017, his odometer hit exactly 1 million miles during a celebration at Pro Motorsports in Wausau, Wisconsin. Yes, they threw a party for a motorcycle odometer. We're talking about Honda's original Goldwing GL1000 here. 999 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled single overhead cam flat 4 boxer engine, putting out 80 horsepower at 7,500 RPM. This wasn't some garage queen getting weekend rides to the coffee shop. Zart methodically toured all 48 contiguous United States and several Canadian provinces on this 604-pound machine. Sure, that original engine went through 3 replacements over 4 decades, plus upgrades like Comstar wheels, but honestly, wouldn't you need a few heart transplants after running 1 million miles? The best part? Everything was documented. Honda press releases, local news, motorcycle magazines. When your motorcycle gets its own press conference, you know you've accomplished something extraordinary. Next up, a 1976 BMW R60/6. Joel Rappaport bought this 599 cubic centimeter air-cooled boxer twin in 1976, and by 2009, he'd racked up over 523,000 miles. We're talking about a bike that survived multiple Iron Butt rallies in 2007 and 2009. For those unfamiliar, these rallies are basically endurance events designed to separate serious riders from people who think a 3-hour ride is ambitious. Back in the 70s, the R60/6 was BMW's workhorse. 40 horsepower from an overhead valve design that was about as complicated as a lawnmower engine. 4-speed transmission, shaft drive, and the kind of reliability that made German engineering famous. Rappaport burned through 25 to 30 tire sets and enough oil changes to keep a quick lube shop in business, but that boxer engine just kept chugging along. The real story here goes beyond the mileage tallied up in Iron Butt Association logs and adventure rider forums. This bike became a legend among riders for its durability and epic long-distance adventures. Number 3 on our countdown, the 1977 BMW R100RS. Jack Castor was a California-based BMW Motorcycle Owners of America member who apparently treated his R100RS like a daily driver. By the mid to late 90s, this 980 cubic centimeter air-cooled boxer twin had crossed the 500,000-mile threshold. But the twist, this was just one bike in what likely became over 1 million total miles across multiple BMWs. The R100RS was BMW's sport touring flagship, 70 horsepower, 5-speed transmission, and that distinctive fairing that made highway miles disappear. Dual front disc brakes were cutting-edge technology in 1977. Castor put this machine through cross-country tours and BMW rallies, burning through tires like they were consumables. The numbers are backed up by BMW MO, a high-mileage awards and consistent reports across enthusiast forums. Castor was apparently too busy putting miles on the bike to worry about photographing every odometer reading. The 1979 BMW R100RT at number 4. Norm Nelson's story mirrors Jack Castor's, but with a touring twist. This particular RT contributed at least 500,000 miles to Nelson's career total of over 1 million miles across multiple BMW motorcycles. Think about that for a second. 1 million miles. That's like commuting from Los Angeles to New York City over 350 times. The R100RT was the luxury touring version of BMW's Boxer line. Same 980 cubic centimeter engine as the RS, but wrapped in a full fairing with integrated luggage. At 525 pounds, this wasn't exactly a lightweight, but it was built for eating miles on interstates and mountain passes. Nelson received BMW MOA, recognition for both 500,000 and 1 million mile milestones. When BMW officially hands you awards for wearing out multiple motorcycles, that's pretty solid validation. At number 5, the 1980 Honda Goldwing GL 1100 Interstate that literally went around the world. Emilio Scotto from Argentina had a simple plan in 1985. Take his 5-year-old Goldwing, nicknamed Black Princess, and ride for a bit. 10 years later, he'd covered 214 countries according to Guinness World Records, though his own count hits 279 if you include every island and territory he touched. This wasn't some sponsored manufacturer stunt. Scotto funded this himself, burning through 86 tires, 12 batteries, 9 seats, and 12,500 gallons of gas across a decade. The original 1085 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled flat-4 boxer engine needed one replacement, but Honda Japan stepped in during 1990 to service the bike mid-journey. Try getting that kind of support today. By the time Scotto finished in 1995, the odometer showed 457,000 miles, though his book claims closer to 500,000. Either way, Black Princess earned her retirement at Don's Riverside Car Museum in Laughlin, Nevada, where visitors can see what happens when someone decides the entire planet is their backyard. Number 6 brings us a mystery biker, the 1986 Yamaha FJ 1200. Somewhere in the United Kingdom, a courier took delivery of a brand new FJ 1200 and proceeded to put it through motorcycle hell. We're talking about someone who might have been Stan Wilson, though the records get fuzzy here. By the mid-2000s, this bike had clocked over 600,000 miles doing what couriers do best, racking up 30 to 40,000 miles per year in all weather. The FJ 1200 was Yamaha's answer to sport touring before anyone called it that. 1188 cubic centimeters of air and oil-cooled inline-4 Fury, pumping out 125 horsepower. This thing could hit 150 miles per hour when it wasn't busy delivering packages through London traffic. Chain drive meant constant maintenance. Our mystery biker went through an estimated 30 to 40 chain replacements, plus regular carburetor rebuilds because carburetors in British weather don't play nicely together. The bike story lives on in UK forum posts and motorcycle news articles, though tracking down the actual rider is like finding a needle in a haystack of high-vis jackets. At number 7, the 1990 Honda VFR 750 FL. A UK courier known as Stan Wilson pushed motorcycles to their limits, treating them like workhorses. His 1990 VFR 750 clocked 852,000 miles by the mid-2000s, roughly equivalent to nearly 2 round trips to the moon. The VFR was Honda's attempt at building the perfect motorcycle. 748 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled 90-degree V4 engine, producing 102 horsepower through a 6-speed transmission. It featured a single-sided swing arm, dual front discs, and advanced technology for its time. At 461 pounds dry, it was light enough to weave through traffic and stable for long highway runs. Stan's bike needed 2 engine replacements at 412,000 and 440,000 miles due to issues like a blown head gasket, which seems reasonable given the courier abuse. The original frame endured, though the side stand rotted, tackling British roads and weather. With over 2 million work miles across his career, Stan's feats on forums have earned him legend status as Britain's highest mileage rider. The 1991 Harley-Davidson FXRT at number 8. Dave Zien was a Wisconsin senator and Vietnam veteran who named his Harley Susanna Alasha Luke Aleya and proceeded to write it into motorcycle history. By April 4th, 2009, the odometer read exactly 1 million miles. Not 999,000, not 1 million and change. Exactly 1 million miles, which is either incredible timing or the kind of precision that comes from planning your millionth mile celebration. This FXRT packed a 1337 cubic centimeter air-cooled Evolution V-twin that put out 49 horsepower. Not exactly a powerhouse by today's standards, but apparently 49 horsepower can take you pretty far if you're stubborn enough. Zien burned through 10 engine rebuilds and 105 rear tires. which averages out to roughly one tire every 9,500 miles. The bike earned certification from both Harley-Davidson and the Iron Butt Association before earning its final honor, retirement to the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum. When your motorcycle gets its own museum display, you've officially crossed from hobby into obsession. Number 9. The 1991 Honda GL 1500 Goldwing Aspencade. Here's our second anonymous rider. The owner's name is lost to forum history, but his achievement isn't. By the early 2010s, this 1520 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled flat six had clicked over 500,000 miles. We're talking about Honda's luxury touring flagship, the bike that made every other manufacturer scramble to build something comparable. The GL 1500 was Honda's answer to riders who wanted a motorcycle that felt more like a living room on wheels. 100 horsepower from a smooth-as-silk flat-six engine, 5-speed transmission with electric reverse, because walking an 800-pound bike backwards is nobody's idea of fun. This particular Aspencade went through regular oil changes, timing belt replacements every 60,000 miles, and an estimated 25 to 30 tire sets. Goldwing enthusiasts shared stories of this bike's epic mileage on forums. The rider eventually downsized to something lighter, likely because wrestling 800 pounds in parking lots loses its charm with age. Coming in 10th, the 1992 BMW K 1100 LT. Dave Swisher holds the distinction of being the first BMW rider to officially hit 1 million miles, reaching that milestone in 1999. His 1992 K 1100 LT contributed roughly 350,000 of those miles before he moved on to other K-Series bikes in his quest for more mileage. The K 1100 LT was BMW's luxury touring answer to Honda's Goldwing dominance. 1093 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled inline-four engine producing 100 horsepower, wrapped in a full fairing with integrated luggage and ABS brakes. At 600 pounds, it was substantially lighter than the Honda competition, while offering similar comfort for long-distance eating. Swisher's achievement earned recognition from BMW MOA and BMW Motorrad, with awards marking his progress at 1 million miles in 1999, 1.5 million in 2010, and eventually 1.7 million total. He finally transitioned to a Can-Am Spyder around 2015, trading 2 wheels for 3 and ending one of motorcycling's most impressive mileage careers. 11th on our list, the 1993 BMW R 1100 RS. Meet Vonnie Glaves, who's been a BMW Motorcycle Owners of America member since 1976 and clearly takes the touring part of motorcycle touring seriously. Her R 1100 RS racked up over 500,000 miles by around 2005, contributing to her eventual career total of over 1 million miles across multiple BMWs. This wasn't just weekend cruising either. Glaves competed in iron butt rallies, including the brutal 2003 event where riders cover thousands of miles in 11 days with minimal sleep. The R 1100 RS was BMW's technological leap forward, featuring 1085 cubic centimeters of air and oil-cooled boxer twin with 4 valves per cylinder, telelever front suspension, and available ABS brakes that were cutting-edge technology for 1993. Glaves earned induction into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame in 2011, making her one of the few riders whose dedication to racking up miles earned official recognition. When the American Motorcyclist Association puts you in their Hall of Fame, you've officially graduated from enthusiast to legend. Number 12 brings us the 1999 Honda Goldwing Valkyrie Interstate. Bruce Wood is 78 years old and apparently hasn't figured out how to slow down. As of June 21st, 2025, his Valkyrie Interstate showed 796,000 miles on the odometer. Wood was captured on video in Farmer City, Illinois, while heading to Alaska because apparently 800,000 miles wasn't quite enough adventure for one motorcycle. The Valkyrie was Honda's attempt to strip down the Goldwing and create something sportier. 1520 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled flat-six power in a lighter, more aggressive package. At 739 pounds, it was still no lightweight, but compared to the full-dress Goldwing, it felt like a sport bike. 100 horsepower and shaft drive meant this thing could cruise all day without breaking a sweat. Wood's bike retains its original engine and transmission after 26 years of service. Over 40 tire replacements, synthetic oil changes, and valve adjustments kept everything running smooth. The fact that he's still touring at 78, while most people his age are arguing about television volume, says everything about both the bike and the rider. 13th spot goes to the 2007 Harley-Davidson Road King. Fred Sprang took his FLHR and proceeded to put 40 to 50,000 miles per year on it, which is the kind of annual mileage that makes most riders question their commitment to motorcycling. By around 2020, his Road King had crossed 600,000 miles, proving that modern Harleys can handle serious distance when properly maintained. The 2007 Road King represented Harley's twin-cam 96 era. 1584 cubic centimeters of air-cooled V-twin producing 68 horsepower and 92 foot-pound of torque. 6-speed transmission, belt drive, and air-adjustable rear suspension for those times when you're carrying enough luggage to relocate permanently. At 745 pounds, this wasn't exactly a nimble canyon carver, but for eating interstate miles, it was perfectly suited. Sprang's achievement gets documented in Harley owner forums and motorcycle cruiser mentions, though official manufacturer recognition seems harder to come by in the modern era. 30 to 40 tire replacements and regular oil changes kept the twin cam happy, proving that dedication and maintenance can make any bike go the distance. 14th on our countdown, the 2004 BMW K1200 LT. Tim Halpin from Virginia accumulated over 500,000 miles across multiple BMW motorcycles, with his 2004 K1200 LT contributing 282,000 of those miles. Morton's BMW Motorcycles in Fredericksburg verified the numbers and through award ceremonies as Halpin hit various milestones: 300,000 in 2010, 400,000 in 2012, and 500,000 on October 15, 2013. The K1200 LT was BMW's flagship touring machine. 1171 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled inline-4 producing 116 horsepower, wrapped in a full fairing with integrated reverse gear, because nobody enjoys backing up 761 pounds of motorcycle. EVO ABS came standard, along with enough electronic features to make the bike feel more like a luxury car than a traditional motorcycle. Halpin passed away on April 30th, 2013, just 9 days after receiving his 500,000-mile award. Morton's BMW had documented everything with odometer photos and family testimony, creating a complete record of one rider's dedication to putting miles on BMW motorcycles. Wrapping up our list, the 2015 Honda Goldwing. Phil Steiner, known as Million Mile Phil, traded in his 2015 Goldwing GL 1800 in January 2023 with 767,154 miles showing on the odometer. At 80 years old, this Lima, Ohio resident was still making 1,000-mile same-day trips, including runs to Wausau, Wisconsin, because apparently 800,000 miles wasn't quite enough. The 2015 Goldwing represented Honda's modern interpretation of luxury touring. 1832 cubic centimeters of liquid-cooled flat-six, producing 118 horsepower and 123 pound-feet of torque. 6-speed transmission with overdrive, shaft drive, and enough technology to run a small space program. At 904 pounds with ABS, this thing was more like a two-wheeled luxury sedan than a traditional motorcycle. Steiner maintained the bike with AMSOIL 10W40 synthetic oil, valve shimming, and one clutch replacement after an oil additive mishap. The original engine stayed in the frame for the entire journey. When you trade in a bike with 750,000 miles and the dealer doesn't immediately start laughing, you've accomplished something special. So there you have it. 15 motorcycles that basically laughed at the idea of wearing out. These bikes went distances that would make most cars tap out. And they did it while carrying riders who clearly never learned the meaning of enough miles for one day. The craziest part is that most of these machines are still running, proving that sometimes the best engineering comes from people who just refuse to quit riding. If you want to see more stories about motorcycles doing impossible things, hit that follow button, because we've got plenty more where these came from. Who knows? Maybe your bike will end up on the next list.